Welcome back, guys. We're here with another update. Like I said, Wizards just keeps releasing the sets, so we keep updating the decks. So this week, we're going to be looking at the new updates from the MTG Foundations set. You know, Foundations, I think, is a really cool set. Felt like it was very well done, and also, nicely enough, it has a lot of good additions to our EDH decks. Again, whether it's a special treatment or whether it's a brand new card. So, just like last time, we're going to just walk you through what new cards are being added and show you the exact treatments that we chose. So, first off, as always, Kaalia of the Vast updates from MTG Foundations. So first off, we have this very nice new dragon borderless version of the Twin Flame Tyrant. So really cool thing about the Twin Flame Tyrant, of course, is he only costs 5, so you can actually probably play him on curve. Don't need to necessarily cheat him in with Kaalia if you've got enough other dragons. And of course, if a source you would control would deal damage, it deals double the damage instead. So it's kind of like a 1/2 Gisela, but a lot cheaper. So definitely a good dragon for us to look to put into our deck. Twin Flame Tyrant. Then the other new card we have is the Abyssal Harvester, also full art. This guy kind of flies under the radar. Again, he's a demon, so he could be cheated in or treated as a demon for any synergies. But most often he only costs 3, and his effect is exile target creature card from a graveyard that was put there this turn. Create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a nightmare in addition to its other types. So obviously this can be used to save any large character that dies, or it can even be used to save your Kaalia, so because you can exile her to the command zone and then create a copy of her to the battlefield so that you don't have to lose your commander. So it's really helps in that commander protection aspect. So the Abyssal Harvester. Now for different art treatments, we have the Phyrexian Arena. I think that's a really cool art. I love the full art there. Looks like a core and then whatever those elephant guys are called, I forget, but just just being attacked by that Phyrexian beast. So I think that's a really neat art there, Phyrexian Arena. And then also upgrading our Swiftfoot boots to this new borderless version. So a couple upgrades there. So a couple upgrades, and of course, a couple new cards. All right, so that was Kaalia of the Vast. Moving on then to our Animar deck. What I love about Animar is just any creature that's good we can always slot in if it makes sense. The one I really like from this last set is the High Fae Trickster. Obviously 4 mana, but it gives you a 4/2 flying flash, so already decent statistics, but then it also just has a Vidalcan Orrery just printed on the card. You may cast spells as though they had flash. Just a very extremely powerful deck. Effect for almost any deck to be able to play at instant speed like that. In multiplayer, that's just huge because you basically just get to take your turn after everyone else does. So that is a very nice effect to have on Animar. And hopefully, again, Animar can cheat it in for cheaper than the 4. So we have the High Fae Trickster. And then we have these very cool art treatment of the kind of the Japanese style art on the Llanowar Elves. So Animar loves acceleration, of course, so we play all the 1-mana elves, and in this case the Llanowar Elves. And I love the orb on this. Obviously this is in here strictly for the art because you can get this card for a nickel if you want just the regular card, but this super pimped out version with the glowing Gaia's orb there, with the Japanese elf art is really cool. And I kind of like that it's elves and it actually shows multiple elves on there. So it actually makes a little more sense thematically to me. So there's the Llanowar Elves upgrade for the showcase version. Moving on to our Yarok. I was just singing the praises of the High Fae Trickster, and here we have the other version of it, the borderless version. So again, that's what's really cool about the new sets. Obviously, they're way overdoing the different arts. So we've got our borderless High Fae Trickster, and here is just the extended border of the High Fae Trickster. I actually like this art a little better. I wish this one would have been the full art. But either way, same things we talked about, but just very powerful in Yarok, especially to be able to play at instant speed. So this is going into our Yarok deck. And as I talked about, our Yarok deck, because it doubles triggers, has a very heavy landfall theme to it. So Loot, the Exuberant Explorer, is really good for abusing lands. You can play an additional land on each of your turns, and then once you have excessive mana down, it gives you that nice activated ability as well. So we've got our borderless Loot, the Exuberant Explorer here. And then for our upgrades, we've got our Rex Sage. Again, when he enters, destroy an artifact or enchantment. Because we're playing Yarok, that gets doubled, so you get a double destruction. So it's a very nice card to have around. So we're just getting an upgraded version of the Reclamation Sage. And then another one of these cool art showcases of Muldrotha, the Gravetide. So Muldrotha is a great card. He's a great commander in his own right, but since he's Yarok's colors, you can play him, of course, in Yarok, and then just play anything out of your graveyard. Once each turn, you get every different permanent spell type and land out of your graveyard. So I really like him and love that art. Very nice. Next, we have another appearance by Loot in our Omnath deck. Of course, no surprise that Omnath would be playing this. We're always looking to get as many land drops in that deck as we can because that's land acceleration to the extreme. And again, just showcasing the borderless versus the extended art there. We get the two different treatments. And I feel like they made the right decision there. I like this one as the borderless and this one as the extended. So very cool. Another copy of Loot. Then moving on, we actually do have some updates to our Atraxa, the Praetor's Voice, which is our Planeswalker deck. So there's two themes to it. One theme is Planeswalker. The other theme is I always play all the weird border versions in that deck. For the most part, I try to shy away from the weird border cards, but in my Atraxa deck, I play them all, as many as I can. So the first thing I have there is a new Bloom Tender. Again, just a substitution, but Bloom Tender was a great card that wasn't being seen reprinted for a long time, so I'm glad they're finally printing it now. Because for decks like Atraxa, where you have 4 colors in your commander's cost, basically if your commander is down, you drop down a Bloom Tender, and that just makes 4 different colored mana off of your commander alone. So just a super good card to have in those decks where your commander has a ton of colors in their mana cost. So we got the Bloom Tender with that special border, and I guess that was considered special guest. I think that's the new Capenna border, basically, if I remember correctly. But they've been doing so many treatments, I'm not always up on what's what. So Bloom Tender, and then the Doubling Season. Again, a cool Japanese art there with the cats there, and I just like the full art. Again, is it kind of a weird art? Yes, but this is, like I said, the deck that I showcase all my weird art in. So definitely going to put that Doubling Season to use in our Atraxa deck. So that is oh no, got a couple more here left. Sorry guys. We've got, for our wall deck, this is an obvious one. We have the Crystal Barricade. So this is the borderless version of that, and this is just wonderful. Just for 2 mana, 0/4, you have hexproof and prevent all non-combat damage that will be dealt to other creatures you control. Just kind of a protective wall there, but at a very low cost. So definitely one of our less useful walls can get traded out for a Crystal Barricade. And then we have, for our zombie deck, we have a couple, one new addition, and that is Zul Asher, the Lich Lord. And she has ward, pay 2 life, not too relevant, but then tap, you may cast target zombie creature card from your graveyard this turn. So basically she just lets you get back any zombie every single turn. So we're going to love that in our zombie deck, and also obviously very reasonably costed, just 2/2 for 2. So that's Zul Asher, the Lich Lord. Again, I love, this is the borderless version, of course, and I love the art on the borderless one. Definitely like that one better. And our addition here, just for art as well, that's already in the deck, is Liliana, the Dreadhorde General. You can kind of see the Dreadhorde in the background there behind her, but just a very beautiful full art version. And this is very nice for our zombie deck. So many useful abilities, especially that static ability of whenever a creature dies that I control, I get to draw a card. And then obviously a lot of other usefulness for kind of late game board control type strategy. So that's Liliana, Dreadhorde General, upgrading to this new beautiful borderless version. And then for our monocolored decks, seeing a couple additions as well. This guy will be familiar. You saw earlier the Twin Flame Tyrant. We're also putting that, of course, into our Purphoros deck. He fits perfectly for Purphoros, which is all about dealing direct damage and dealing it at higher degrees. And so he does the doubling the damage, exactly what you want to be doing. And that's for any source you control. So doesn't matter whether it's a creature or permanent or whatnot, it doubles all sources. And so again, same thing we were running in our Kaalia deck, just giving you a look at the different art treatments there. I actually do like this art better, but I gave the nod to the borderless for Kaalia just because I tried to put the fancier version in the Kaalia deck. But I actually do like the art here on the extended art one a little bit better. So that's going into our Purphoros. And then another new card here, we're playing the Electro Duplicate. So this basically copies a creature for 3, then it goes to your graveyard and it copies the creature again as flashback for 4. So it's kind of like a double clone. Of course, since it's red, it's not a permanent clone. It's a clone that only goes till the end step. But if you know how Purphoros works, you're really just after cards for the enter the battlefield trigger. So you're putting them down, getting their enter the battlefield trigger, getting your Purphoros trigger, and then you're probably sacrificing them to something like a Goblin Bombardment anyway. So you don't really care too much that they're going to get sacrificed at the end step. So what's really good is it gives you two additional copies. And if you're copying something like a Siege Gang Commander, well, the first time you copy it, that creates 3 creatures. You sack them all, then you flash back again, you create 3 more creatures, sack them all. So you're literally getting, 6 Purphoros triggers, as well as whatever your sack triggers are for your sacrificing. So just amazing for that deck to just keep, recurring things to the table. So going to try that out. Not not going to be one of the best cards in the deck, but I want to try being able to copy some of my better tokens. And in the off chance, if you're oh no, it does not work on your opponent's cards. I was going to say you could copy your opponent's cards, but you can't because this is limited to creatures you control. So the examples that I was giving were very relevant, but you can't cheat and get your opponent's cards with this one, unfortunately. So that's Electro Duplicate. Then our very last card is just a condition upgrade for our mono green, and that is the G-Wave. Always love the Genesis Wave, guys, in my Azusa, where it just ramps up massively, and this is just a cool new version, kind of just showing like the Helix Pinnacle style there of art. So just a cool little art upgrade there for our Azusa deck. Well, thanks for watching, guys. That was the update for MTG Foundations. Yet again, huge stacks of cards. As you've probably seen, there's only about a dozen decks here that I'm upgrading, but even within those dozen decks, there's always opportunities to add, in a new set like this. It seems like we're adding, 15, 20 cards, pretty crazy. So that's another upgrade cycle to our decks from MTG Foundations. Look forward to giving you guys the next update, so stay tuned.